Well, it's beer o'clock in the brew shed. Today is the Houblon Chouffe, which is the Dobbelen IPA Tripel. Comes in at 9%. They use 3 hops, but they don't say what hops they are. And there is a little splattering of coriander in there as well, which was also in the last one. I'll just crack it open. Mostly malts on the nose. Supposed to be bottle condition, but I didn't see too much yeast in there. There is a little bit of a haze. Okay, this is a depleted glass, so there's a stream of carbonation coming up off the etching, but not much else. As you can see, a thick billowy head. A little bit of lace in there I can see on the top, even through the foam. It's just clinging all the way around there at 9%. Let's see if it drinks like a 9%. Ooh, yeah, a little bit of yeast. Definitely that coriander giving it that little spiciness. A little bit of lemon. Definitely a citrusy, zingy aroma on there. Cutting through the foam even. Right, let's dive in. Hop bitterness. It's very smooth, similar to the La Chouffe. Not as gassy as that. The bubbles feel bigger, more of a punch. It accentuates as that bitterness from the hop. It's not highly bitter, certainly not, you know, comparing it with an American Pale or an IPA. There's some fruit coming through with the bitterness. Touch of dryness on the tongue. A little bit of spice, but it's not as pronounced as the coriander was in the La Chouffe. Not really getting any sweetness from it. It's not bitter through and through. There is a bit of hint comes over nearly all the way through the mouth when you're swallowing it, and there's a little bit of that coriander, fruit, citrus washes in sort of after the bitterness is then dying down, and then you get sort of like the second hit from the CO2 dispersing off your tongue. Doesn't drink like a 9%er again. You'd say it's on a medium mouthfeel. It's almost resiny in texture. I can feel it on my tongue a little bit, but without those sort of piney flavours, but you get that sort of thick resinous type flavour and texture on your mouth. So you know it's a bigger beer with a lot of hops in it. But really, a little bit of the gas. Not a 9%er. There's no alcohol burn. I'm getting a little bit of gas burn from the bitterness and the CO2. But alcohol wise, I can now feel a little bit of warming in my chest down here, but not as potent as the Brooklyn chocolate. I found that very alcoholic. This doesn't give you those sort of kind of alcoholic hit with the warming of your throat. when you're taking it down. This is after you've sort of got halfway down. You can start to feel the effects of the alcohol coming in on the chest, but certainly doesn't drink like a 9%er. That bitterness is maintained all the way through. Sometimes you get used to the bitterness and you tend to pull out, you know, sort of fruit flavours and sweet. This seems to be hanging in there all the way through. It's that sort of straight level bitterness. I'm not getting used to it and letting it fade away. It's still hanging there. It's mellower than it was to start with, but I think that's also it's losing its carbonation fairly quick. It's a lot calmer now than it was. As you can see, it's a sort of golden haze. It's a blonde style ale. That head's still looking good. Nice glass lacing. As I say, there's the alcohol legs coming through. Not going to be for everyone because of the bitterness, but then obviously they're not going to like IPA, so they'd probably steer away from it. But it certainly, you know, you can't say it's like an English IPA. It certainly isn't like an American. So, you know, it's not as fruit forward and as bitter as an American pale. But it's a good solid beer. You know, it's sort of in a heavier weight category, but not up there with a 9. It's not like a punchy triple. And it doesn't feel quite as gassy as that. But the coriander spicing is giving it that slight uplift. And the bitterness runs through. Just doesn't fade. You don't get used to it. It's just, you know, very well balanced. One flavour type doesn't run ahead of anything else in the glass. And obviously we can see. Very nice. They didn't actually start making this till 2006, so whether it's gone through any changes in the time it's been brewed. Still that sort of slight yeast and the coriander spice still coming through. Can't knock it. So this has been the Houblon Chouffe IPA, triple IPA, 9%, courtesy of Beers of Europe, the channel Beer Review sponsoring beersofeurope.co.uk. I'll leave a link below for a link to the beer and to the shop itself, so you can peruse at your leisure. Till the next one, cheers.